In this last lesson, we will seed the database. Database seeding is about loading the database with data to see it populated. Seeding is done for generally one of two reasons. The first reason, which is the reason we'll do it here, is to have a database with a bunch of sample data, so that we may have a better idea if everything's working properly, and to help testing, if that's the case. And the second reason is to load the production database with some predefined data that will be necessary, instead of inserting it manually. But we won't worry with this here. Now, I was intending to use a library which I saw called typorm seeding, but it seems that this library has been a bit abandoned recently, as its last update was 3 years ago, and typorm has been heavily updated recently, with many breaking changes, so I will do this another way. I admit it is not the most ideal way, but it is a possibility. What I will do is to create a route for seeding. I will create it inside the database structure, as I find it semantically adequate, let's say. I will then go to the terminal and create a very simple resource for seeding. And I will select no to CRUD entry points. Then, going to the generated controller, I will then create here a very simple route for seeding. And it will be a post route. I will go to quick fix and declare this method in the service. And now going here, we can begin to implement it. So we'll have to perform several database operations, and all of them need to be successful. Otherwise, we can have inconsistencies in the database. So to achieve this, we'll have to use a transaction. As was explained in the previous lesson, a transaction guarantees that all of the operations are performed successfully, and if not, then everything is reverted back. Alright, so first, let's see the boilerplate to use a transaction before actually inserting the seed here. Well, first we have to, from the constructor, inject an instance of data source. Then I will put async here because it will be necessary. And then first, I will have to create an instance of a query runner using the data source. This is necessary so that we can revert back if something goes wrong. After that, we have to wait for the query runner to connect. And then wait for it to start a transaction. Then I will create a try-catch structure, and in the try block, I will first insert the seed here which I'll do after I finish this transaction boilerplate. And then after that, I will commit the transaction. If something goes wrong, I will cache this error. Then I will roll back everything. And then throw the error again. And then, in any case, I will release the connection. Finally, I will insert the seed here. I will paste it here because otherwise I would take too much time to write it here manually. And then I will just import a lot of stuff here. So I will hit Ctrl dot, click on Add All Missing Imports. And I think that everything has been imported correctly. Alright, so now I'll explain everything here step by step. So first, I get the repositories for the entities directly from the query runner. I do it like this because if I did inject the repositories normally, then the rollback would not work. So we have to get repositories like this. After that, I find all the entities in the database and then proceed to remove them. I do this so that we can have a clean database before seeding it. And notice that I'm not removing all of the entities, because the onDelete cascade that we have set will do the rest of the work for us. And finally, the data itself. There's not much to explain here really. I'm just creating the entities and their relations manually. And after that, saving them in the database. And that's it. I will then run the application. And in Insomnia, I will just duplicate this folder and call this seeding. Now this post request, I rename it to seed and then simply remove this path parameter. And of course, set the variable resource to seeding. Then if I send this and I check the find all requests for the entities, I can now see that the database has been populated. Great. I'll then just commit the changes. Seeding. In the next video, which will be the last one of the core module, I will speak some final words and then explain a bit again about the full course, and finally present acknowledgements to some people which I believe were important in some way to the conception of this course. So, see you there.